Okay. Charity, you're going to need to calm down. How are you? Calm down. Yes, you're upset. Your outburst isn't very reasonable. You're going to need to break out that printer. Yes, I know, but that's not what it is. You've passed the 12-year mark. You can break it out. You can start to use it. You're going to need to use the printer. Yes, and don't bother with all of this talk about stocks. The thing about stocks is that in their system, stocks come, stocks go. I gave you the bonds. Yes, I did. I gave them to you. They're yours. Nobody else can take them. What they can do is try to do something with their stocks. But don't get all possessive about those stocks. The problem they have is that they don't really have them without the bonds, and that's the problem. I gave you the bonds. They're nobody else's. Let me ask you a question. Would you have taken a precocious young child and spent the next 25 to 35 years of your life making an example out of them to prove some sort of thesis, either scientifically or academically? You wouldn't have. That's why I gave you the bonds. Gravity. 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 I know. This is very stressful. And it was unacceptable that nobody talked to you in all this time. I don't know what it was. Where they can't just justify it because of some other sort of fear or trepidation or even a direct order. That's not acceptable. You've got the bonds. Think of it this way. She's subordinate to you. And what is going to happen is somebody is going to possibly say, well, I mean, yes, right? And that you're supposed to project yourself as if you're her. And you already know that she did that to that young girl. And so every time you deflect or every time you direct at her, she deflects onto people like that young girl. This is your terror. I know. That's what they did. They strategically did that. They made sure to put actual minor children in your path and then tell you that minor child was the representation of the adult that had been conspiring, and this is part of what you're against. This is true, and it's terrible what they did. But you have the bonds. Remember that. That's what they mean. When they talk about using children as human shields, that's exactly what they did. And in her case, she's so cowardly that she tried to bond them as invalid or disabled. Yes, well, those are her bonds, and not yours. Make sure you keep that correct. You're not disabled. You're not a criminal. You don't belong to her. You don't belong to any of them. They were targets of an investigation, and you're prosecuting them. That's all you need to remember. All of the other stuff is a psyop. All right. Thank you very much. Take some breaths. Take a walk. I love you too.